Witnesses claim the recovery teams arrived before anyone reported the crash. A family is driving home late at night through a quiet desert highway. The road is empty. The radio hums softly in the background, and then something tears across the sky. Not a distant light, not a shooting star. A burning object is descending fast enough that everyone in the car falls silent. The father slows the vehicle. The children stir through the windows. The mother reportedly describes the object as metallic, glowing around the edges, dropping behind nearby hills with a flash. And only minutes later, they reach a military roadblock that wasn't there before. Floodlights cut through the darkness. Armed personnel stand in the road. Vehicles move past toward the impact area. The family is told to turn around immediately. No questions, no explanation. And according to decades of rumours surrounding Project Pounce and Project Moondust, things like that may have happened far more often than most people realise. Project Moondust was a real United States Air Force program connected to the recovery of fallen aerospace material during the Cold War. Declassified military and government documents reference operations involving the retrieval of Soviet satellite fragments, missile debris, and unidentified objects returning from space. The program emerged during the height of Cold War tensions in the late 1950s and early 1960s, when both the United States and the Soviet Union were rapidly expanding missile and satellite technology. Officials feared foreign technology falling onto American soil. They feared classified hardware being recovered by rival nations, and they feared not knowing what had entered the atmosphere. That fear created recovery operations capable of deploying quickly, often into isolated areas, sometimes during the middle of the night. One declassified Department of State document connected to Project Moondust references coordination involving recovered foreign space objects between 1967 and 1972. Some reports involved Soviet satellite debris. Others involved unidentified metallic fragments recovered after aerial incidents. And over time, UFO researchers began asking a difficult question. If military teams were already trained and prepared to recover sensitive objects from the sky, what happened when the object wasn't easily identifiable? That question is where the name Project Pounce began appearing in UFO research circles. Unlike Project Moondust, far less official information exists publicly regarding Pounce. Researchers such as Leonard Stringfield, one of the earliest investigators to seriously document alleged UFO crash retrieval testimony, collected stories from military personnel, intelligence sources, and witnesses who claimed unusual debris recovery operations had taken place behind closed doors. Stringfield published multiple status reports during the 1970s and 1980s, documenting alleged insider testimony connected to crashed UFO retrieval claims. Some described rapid military deployments arriving before local authorities. Others described debris being loaded into covered trucks under armed guard. A few claimed witnesses were warned not to discuss what they had seen. The reports varied. Some were second-hand. Some came from unnamed military sources. But the patterns repeated often enough that the stories surrounding Project Pounce continued spreading through UFO research communities for decades. And then there are the alleged retrieval cases themselves. Some researchers have attempted to connect Project Pounce, or Moondust personnel, to incidents such as Kettsburg in 1965, where witnesses in Pennsylvania described a fiery object descending through the sky before military personnel allegedly secured the area. Others point towards stories surrounding Roswell, Aztec, or smaller, lesser-known crash retrieval rumours scattered throughout the Cold War years. No single case has ever fully resolved the debate, but what keeps these stories alive is the atmosphere surrounding them. Witnesses describing helicopters arriving unusually quickly, families ordered away from roads in isolated areas, local police suddenly losing authority over scenes they were first to reach. And for ordinary people caught in those moments, the experience was often deeply unsettling. Imagine seeing something impossible descend from the sky, then watching armed strangers arrive before emergency services even know what happened. Imagine trying to return to your own home, only to be blocked by soldiers refusing to answer questions. For some witnesses, it wasn't just mysterious, it was frightening. Maybe Project Moondust was exactly what official records say it was. A Cold War debris recovery program built around national security. Maybe Project Pounce was simply a misunderstood name attached to ordinary military procedures. Or maybe, hidden inside the bureaucracy of satellite recovery operations, there were incidents nobody could easily explain. Because sometimes the mystery isn't what governments confirm, it's what continues appearing in the shadows, around the parts they don't fully discuss.